Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And on this one we have EKKO Jungle vs Kindred Education. Now Kindred, as we all know, is the dominating jungler of the meta, along with Rek'Sai, and Riot have determined that they are in fact fine, no nerfs further coming. We also have the EKKO as a contrasting point starting Q and doing the Raptors. The Draven is shocked and has no idea why this is happening. Nautilus is ready trapping on the bottom side. The point of a Raptor start, my friends, is so that you can go and win level 2. Don't fake leash it, let us then gank and dive you. But hey, difficult for some people to understand. We have the Yone show top lane here. We're going to go down to our red with a W second up. And EKKO, this video, why did I pick this one? Because the description said aggressive jungler. And I always like to see that when it comes to assassins, because most assassin players are way too passive. They don't understand that they snowball through gold. Obviously, experience is great as well, but we love having cash monies. That's why we like the first strike. Bottom lane does what bottom lane does here. We obviously have the Kindred starting on this side at this particular stage. Yone showing late. Doesn't really compromise us at all when we can track the bottom lane being late to lane as well. Remember always to click screens, look for mana missing even a smidgen, and try your best to assess where they started if you don't have vision. Otherwise, leave deep wards and raptor pits so you can see, aha, that's where the Kindred is, that's what they've done. Now, regardless of that, we have the Yone and the Gragas going all in top lane. This is a massive, massive wave. So we all know that if there was an Elise on the enemy team, or Xin Shao, that's a red side quadrant clear into a dive. And we did cover that on the main channel, covering why the red side quadrant clear is absolutely the best in the game. Don't forget, all my jungle courses and, of course, free coaching classes and everything are available via virkayu.gg for a fraction of what they used to be, a membership system allowing you to get everything you want weekly included as well for no extra cost. We just had a great 2-hour coaching class where people submitted their clips. Hopefully, we can welcome some of you next week. If you have any questions and you want to just join a great high-end Virkayu jungle community, well, my community, but for all junglers is the idea. Hopefully guest lectures and everything. We welcome you soon, I hope. Now, Gragas is fighting the Yone. Kindred is basically going to cut in here with a 5 camp, but knowing that would the Kindred know that the EKKO started on the bottom side? Unlikely that, you know, they knew it was a Raptor start because Draven was late to lane, but given the Nautilus's position, it would be assumed, hey, leashless start, probably bottom side, right? And as I always say, you can easily go for that good old-fashioned a wolf start if you want to also mislead. And it's a little bit of a shame the EKKO wasn't thinking about doing anything in this lane, but again, if your lane is super duper low and you see the big ass wave, it's like, I'm not going to be able to do anything if Kindred is here as well. So what happens is the Kindred goes for the gank, cutting the clear short to get ahead of the EKKO. EKKO says, fine, I'll take the scuttle. Kindred knows because it's a high elo game, that's gone. Didn't need the ward, right? We didn't need the ward, we knew it was going to be gone, but it is what it is. Good to get guaranteed confirmation, I suppose. We'll check out a W here if with the EKKO we'll get that EQ, drag it, tank 1 tower shot, tank 2 shower shots. That's a lower HP Jax now, but Kindred's going to be coming out of base. Is this something you necessarily want to perma rush for if you're not tracking support roam timers? Most importantly, if the enemy bot lane has shove, right, this is risky. Watch them and track them. That's all you can do. If your bottom lane has killed their bottom lane as you're approaching this and they respawn while you are approaching this, you have to allow the possibility that they might show up, right? But in this particular case, with the Janna already dying twice, if you look at it from EKKO's perspective, she is dead currently. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're going to be crossing mid lane right about now. She's level 2 as well, right? So here we go. We watch the Janna respawn time, but we know that, we see that, we know the Kindred's going back to base. So basically, you're looking at a section of, I always like to say 20 seconds, but you have more than that at this particular stage of the game to get to the river. Usually, movement speed does compromise you a bit, depending on runes and things like this, but, you know, for 8 to 28, it was, what, 20 seconds from here, so yeah, 28, 30 seconds. And if they're going back to base, they have to press base as well, right? So the EKKO runs from the Scuttle Crab into the Tribush, waiting for his bottom lane to arrive. They get baited into it, hits a lovely double stun, and they get it killed because the bottom lane follow up. So a great use of a leashless clear, threatening a possibility here, but our bot lane does the job. Go top side, Kindred cuts a clear short to get the gank on the Gragas. Great, we can do nothing about it, so we take the scuttle, force the return base. Know we got 25 to 30 seconds, so we can snack this, push it down, walk towards a bot lane, and get even more juice. Great aggressive and map control jungling, all from a full clear, right? Now, go and do Krugs. Yeah. And we, of course, have the... I didn't check the itemization. So, whatever's on the thumbnail, fine. But as we all know, we do like Rocket Belt. And you know, a Dark Seal plus a Blasting one is really the good juice that we want in this life. Now, this is what I kind of like about this play that I've had in, you know, look, in the coaching class we had it, in the coaching session I had it. We see the Kindred here. We'll break it down in a second, okay? I want to showcase what both of these junglers have done. We call it a loop path. Effectively, oh, this is not quite a loop path, but we call it something where you can just cut the map, right? You cut the map off, not a loop path, a cutting of the map. Hey, I expect you to go Krugs, Raptors, Wolves, Gromp, and sequence upside. We expect Kindred to do exactly the same thing, right? Especially seeing as they also show top lane with 20 CS. So we know categorically that they didn't do Krugs, that they did a 5 camper only to cut and get their gank off, that they're going to go back to base now and try and match bottom scuttle and the respawn of their camps. We as EKKO have done, obviously, a full clear 24, 28, 32. Nice. We got the 36 here, and we'll get the 40 right here, okay? The Kindred is behind on that farming by quite a large amount because of the EKKO's good early game plan. The EKKO might think the Kindred's just going to keep sequencing to catch up. Maybe cut in and do this. Maybe cut in and do something top lane if necessary, pre-6, but probably wouldn't work out timer-wise because 5:30. The EKKO says, okay, look, if the Kindred's going to go ahead and do that, I can cut the map, give up these 2 camps, because top lane, and just do a free dragon, not objective. Or obviously you can gank the bottom lane and then do the objective. The Kindred kind of has the same idea and says, look, I'm level 4, I'm a bit compromised. My bot lane is straight up inting because the EKKO allowed them to go leashless and make the Giga play. That's also the... Well, bottom lanes will bottom lane. I think that's the most important thing we can learn here. But the EKKO decides to cut in, and well, Kindred showed up there. I don't exactly rinse this, you know, so Nautilus can help me, but I don't think Kindred's thinking about the fact that the EKKO would be doing this by cutting the map, because it's not something you see in high elo very often. End of story. You don't see people greeting and sneaking early dragons anymore. Jax is now trying to go all in the Yasuo here with Yone as well. So the anticipation is that the EKKO is sneaking to the top side and Kindred can get at least something going. Good ward there as well. 2 people here. The Nautilus gives away that they're doing the dragon. Now EKKO basically sees this. Yeah, we got 200. Well, we have 200 in pocket, so that's all you really need to know. We use Futures Market as well. Nautilus roams, we roam. We chuck the W, forcing Yone to go back out there. No ult. Flash is available very, very shortly for Yone, plus the Ignite. Nice tornado by the Yana. And we're all going to hopefully disengage this with grace and safety, and we're going to snack this Scuttle up much quicker. We don't have Smite because we used it on the Dragon. There's a body slam, EQ, auto, and we're going to flash to get that, flash to get the auto, but we'll die from the Kindred there. Happens. You have to basically, and it's very easy to say here in these videos, and in all analytical contexts, hey, don't do this. But in-game, it's like, hey, we can kill them. We can do it, and then we can get the Scuttle Crab. But for me, it's a case of, look, I don't have Smite, and I think I try and preach and, you know, also play by these rules as well. I also fail at them. I also try this stuff and die. I've literally said to my duo mid laner, hey, let's relax and scale, and then we take a 2v2 here, and we both die. And we're like, yeah, but didn't we say we weren't going to do that? It happens. But here as well, the Gragas goes back in. We think we can do something, but there's no real need, right? We don't have Smite anyway. We can't contest it. The Ashe is now roamed up here to kill the Nautilus. The Janna, right? Let's just look at that again. The Janna was also in the picture. So you just look at the numbers advantage. If you're tracking some of the spells on the Yone, you know that it's just give up the Scuttle, man. Take up your blue side quadrant, reset, go spend your cash money gold, go back bot lane, snowball your Draven, or instead of going bot lane, cut up and just do the Herald and contest it, right? Because that's what you're actually looking to get, not the RNG Scuttle. You want the Herald. So EKKO out of base rotates to the top side, which makes perfect sense because this is going to be up, these are going to be up, and here we are, right? And while that was happening, Kindred did in fact go back to the bottom side because that's where the blue buff is. All the bottom side camps have 3rd respawn, so they'll be the highest level, and of course we can just go in and kill the Raven. A little close, but we'll take them apples too. EKKO obviously gets that, which means we should have free Herald, but he's like, I'll do this, I guess. There we go. All right. Will it reach? Yes. Which is great, right? We are obviously as junglers, when we can shove ahoy for a crash, we always enjoy those things. But most importantly, we obviously have the Janna moving to the mid lane. Nautilus is also in the mid lane, so there's a lot of roaming supports here. And the junglers are kind of trying their best to play around it. This is what we technically wanted to avoid for the Gragas. But why is it good? Because we get the prio for that Herald. And we can drag this Herald out. There's no reason for us to really be compromised in terms of the vision, purely because we can just... Oh! Ugh. This is just absolute perma-fisting. At this point, I'm like, what's the value here? What are they doing that makes sense? What can I use to explain things? And I think the most important thing that we can learn from this game is fight assessment, cooldown timing, and ability timers. Yeah? Here, no smite. We probably don't win because of itemization. Let's just give it up and then control our blue side camps, and we can go spend and come back top lane, make the bluff. Kindred goes bot side. Cool, we get the freebie. Obviously, we put the Grogus in a bit of a rough situation here with this, but it gives us the ability to shadow and rotate as necessary. The wave did technically hit the turret, and we get the Herald. I always advise people to, in lower elos, if that's where your game is, play the people, right? Not the theory. Hey, it's best to just leave the wave because it's gonna freeze. Hey, I should push it. Hey, you know, blah, 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 blah. Just, if they are gonna threaten trolling, just let them deal with their own decisions, right? You can, as a jungler, are used to playing around laners who don't control their waves properly or put themselves in weird situations. Hey, don't die 1v1 and I'll come gank you. All right, cool. You died 1v1. Why no gank? We're used to that. So just play around that as best you can. Now, the problem with that, though, is I kind of really wanted to flex into the Herald. And I do think that... But my question is, why would you not sneak the sucker away? Like, if you're Kindred, you should probably try and sneak that sucker away. But they didn't. Missed opportunity. 100% missed opportunity. Because once you see the EKKO here in this, again, extended fight now, right? And you're tracking him and what camps he's done. Like, he does the wolf camp, shows top lane +4, cool. You know, we'll do this. If he does the grump, you add all the CS together. You know, you see him push this wave, you track the CS, he comes down here, you press tab, he took nothing else. You know the red side camps are available. You know he's been shadowing bot lane because Draven's winning that, even though he's died 4 times. Maybe as Kindred, you could justify a sneak here. I think in the majority of elos, you could get away with this and probably should try and get away with sneaking this Herald away when you path back to the top side. Because you killed Draven while everyone else was fisting top side. So you're sneaking and pathing to the top side afterwards. If their whole team doesn't take it and then kites down, that's a free objective. So you should take that. You should try and control that. Definitely a big one. Big missed opportunity for the Kindred, I think. But the EKKO does a great job, obviously, controlling camps, ganking bot lane, shadowing bot lane with 2-1-3. 2-1-3 out of 14 kills. And so when you have these kinds of games, and this is why I do include these kinds of games sometimes, because you can't always control when there's a big fiesta. The most important metric I see here from the EKKO standpoint, deaths. So many times, you see people in Diamond, and Emerald, and Platinum, and Gold, and all the elos we have across all the landscapes. Deaths, 2-4-2. Like, you have a game like this, and you're 2-4-2 with lower CS, right? The most important thing for you is to not die in those skirmishes. Keep your ganking assessment and your fighting assessment top tier. Understand your back timers for your itemizations, right? Just had a section before this in the class where Elise had 1500 gold, knew Rengar was going topside. We needed to base, spend it, and then go and fight the Herald. We stayed out, Rengar didn't do it. Now we're like, is he on it? Should we stay? And you can't fight it because you didn't spend, right? And then everyone goes bot side and we die. So the most important thing for you is to understand your spending and your ganking and fighting assessment. And the EKKO's done a good job of that. Even if we're not that involved, we will be, right? We will be, that's the goal. Hello, Jenna. Hello, Ash. We'll just get the flash, make sure we get all of that, hit that Q to get the slow. And now we're going to try and hit the W onto the Janna, but she's too fast, too furious. We'll chuck a Q, hit the E, we'll auto attack. We have Ultra Reset, we get tornadoed again. Probably a little over aggressive again. I know it's easy to get baited in to Janna's, but this is something where, you know, it's not like a Zyre with a base cooldown on the E is like 12 seconds. It's important to measure the timers of abilities that are important to you. So it's very easy and why you see most people get caught up with Jannas and lesser seen champions. But like if you're facing a Jarvan, you should categorically know that that E is a 12-second base, right? So with a little bit of haste, what, 11.5 seconds? So if a Jarvan at level 4 does an EQ, you know you got 12 seconds before the next one, right? And you can play around that. So knowing those things contextually is important. Kindred walks in to where the shield is. Nautilus is now out of position, but look at the EKKO here. You see this? You see this? You see this? You see this? Numbers disadvantage, doesn't loiter, doesn't hang around, says, "What are you doing, guy?" And then just immediately runs away. Immediately. You don't hang, you don't try to save, you just say, bye-bye, because you're not gonna live there if you stay. Most important thing is mitigate the amount of deaths you have. Make it max 5. Max deaths you can have a 5. So if you're in these Fiesta games, all these skirmishings and everyone's running around, you're like, okay, well, is there any theory anymore? No, it's just people reacting to fights. Just play around your cooldowns, look at the fights organically, and it's one of those questions where it's like, yeah, we're winning. No, we're losing. Yeah. Right? Up and down, up and down. And as long as you understand your own cooldowns and damage profile, and you can survive and recognize when it's dead and you have to leave, good. And if you pin it at 5 deaths in a game, like that's the goal, if you start dying a lot early through silly things like this, and you recognize every time you get to 14 minutes, 20 minutes, you only have 2 more deaths to go, then you're going to start to play a lot more compromised later on in the games, and it's not always as good, right? Because sometimes you're going to have to put yourself in those situations to win. So you'll end up figuring out that you need to play smarter early to have more deaths for meaningful moments. And obviously you will have more than 5 deaths, right? It's not like you're not going to, but it's just an intent, a goal. Nice shadowing from the EKKO here. We take this stuff, we push on in, we shadow the scenario because we want to shove this out, translating ourselves back into this game. I love this, right? We path inward, we path from the outside in so we can synergize with our bot lane. Or we do this and we loop around for the shove and then we cut in again to shadow the bot lane who's mid lane. Now we do our raptors, and you might want to kite down and do all of these camps, and you could. But if you look at where the lane is, right, it's better to use this shove and cut from the Gragas, and that's the most important thing here, right? Well done by the Janna, well done by the Ashe. They're difficult champions to play around in that sense. So it's a good play to go for. That's what we're looking to go for. But hey, they're allowed to react to make the right plays. Cooldowns are burnt. There we go. But this is the important thing, right? The EKKO goes to Raptors, doesn't go red Krugs. Sees the Gragas shoving. Sees these two shoving. We saw the Kindred go up. So we know Kindred's on this side of the map as well. Once we see this, we just do the Raptors, see Gragas cutting, see the ability for a dive. Let's sync up. So when you have mid laners, top laners roaming, supports roaming, and you're sieging at this mid-game stage, don't get distracted by camps. You know, there's a good time for it, there's a bad time for it. In this particular case, that was a good time to cut the camps out and go. But now we look at mid lane, and again, well engaged by the Yone. We're chucking Qs up, but we're not dying. We're not dying. We saw it was a doomed fight. We spaced out it properly. We're going to try wave clear as much as we can with our Q here, but we do have 1100 in pocket. Obviously, we went for the Nash's Tooth first to that point, but I still kind of like the Rocket Belt first, personally, but it's not wrong, right? It's good. It's fine. Like, Nash's is amazing to buy and to use. So Kindred falls down to the mark, obviously. We're at 123 to 107. With all of this skirmishing now and the cuts, EKKO has compromised CS a little bit, whereas Kindred just focused on their camps, which is what you're meant to do in a neutral game, and you can't afford that time, especially if you're losing and you can't exactly push up. You might as well just control your camps. Look for a few picks here and there. But as EKKO, we're looking for that Rocket Belt spike at this particular stage, but we're pretty strong at this stage. We want 11 before we necessarily ult again, and again that we telegraphed that W a little bit too ahead of time, and Yone does what Yone does. We don't have to proc our ult, but that will lose us the drag. Aha! Yes! I'll take that. Nice snipe from the Draven. We're watching this, and if you can't go in, don't go in. If you think it's too risky, don't go in. Did you see that? EKKO mains know what happened. Let me just play it for the non-EKKO mains. Go back to base, and you're going to R back to point. Full HP. Boom. See that? Got to alternate at full HP, now we can get into the fight. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. This is one of the best in-field jungle ult back to lane situations I've seen in a very long time, and I don't mean that, I do mean that. I don't mean that in clickbait, I mean that literally. Really, really great ult back, triple kill into the dragon. Beautiful. Love it. This is the kind of stuff you want to aspire to be and to play like when you are mastering a champion, because it's just so quick, right? Back to base, quickly buys item, ult immediately, rotates enough for the fight. But if we want EKKO, you can't stay there, right? Don't go into the fight and die. It's the worst thing you can do. Because if your team are all going to wipe here, and you go back to base, you can't get in. Let them finish off your team, take the dragon. What could you do? Well, might as well just do my Raptors Wolves Gromp. Or I can go outside in and do this one if everyone's low and doesn't show up. Like, a little bit more risky because they might try and rotate directly, but hey, you might be able to get it. Leave a ward, fall back to these things, right? Get camps, get objectives, get experience, get gold. Don't die in a last fight or don't die for the dragon. Now, our Draven overcommits and dies. Our Nautilus overcommits and dies. And the EKKO with the Rocket Belt plus another Blasting Wand is in absolute prime position to carry this game. That ult back to lane triple kill is huge. They take the objective, but we don't contest it. We say they got it. That's it. I accept this. I'm going to farm my camps to make sure they can't steal it. Janna following around the Kindred is always a bit annoying. We've caught up the CS now. Hello, is anybody at home? No one shows up here, so we don't show ourselves. I like the idea here of not showing yourself. You could easily go and push this out and get yourself experience. Where's Ashe? Right? Where's everybody else? Now, we do kind of know that they're withdrawing here because we have vision, but at the same time, they don't know where you are, right? That's the most important thing. I'm trying to be hidden so I can make a good assassination play. Although, that being said, because that's what's obviously going through this person's mind, I would probably take the wave. I would probably just push this myself and then cut back down for blue and be looking at this and cut in. I would feel like I had that time versus having to force the situation. Nicely done though. Regardless of what you do, right? You can easily do this and rotate mid lane. But this was a great play as well. Decided to proactively look for the Ashe, nothing cut in, try and remain hidden as much as possible, all in from the front, kill the Ashe. It's exactly what you want to do. Join your team, push with your team. Now, whether you have time to push this wave, fall back to blue and do that, depends on the game. But don't push the wave while your team's trying to do something and you can't actually help when it goes the other direction because you are not there. So what I said, contextualize it to your game state. If you have time to push the wave, do so. Now, the Yone goes way too in. We have the Nautilus, we get the Yasuo ult, brother on brother crime. We have here the, fratricide, right? We have here the, the Gragas ult spreads the cheeks. And the Nautilus hook then actually misses, which is amazing because I don't think it could miss. Really, didn't think it could miss. But exquisite, right? The EKKO multiple times this game has just made sure he synced up with his team when it mattered the most. Backline here onto the Janna. Beautiful combo. Auto-attacking the whole way through, getting that stun. There you go. Took out the priority target. Jannas, Sonas, any enchanters. Kill them. And then they can't shield and protect the Kindred. They can't shield and protect the Fed ADC. And if there's no enchanter and they have no real peel, you kill the ADC. We're baiting the Baron here. We're doing it, but we're looking to turn first, right? We're doing it, but if they step out, we're going to turn. We're getting low. Will Kindred go for the coin flip? Steal. Yes, they will, but they don't get it because EKKO combo smite is too huge. So if you're the Kindred here, please don't go for that steal. You're just not going to get it. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. Well done, blue team. Well done, blue team. You just the E smite combo in just those two things together is insane for EKKO, right? We're already looking at 324. You don't have that burst with Kindred. You just don't have that burst unless you can sync it up with your E, but even then it's capped. So always decide if it's worth the steal, because the EKKO straight up was not involved as much in this game, but it's because he was playing the Fiesta intelligently. As soon as he ulted back here, got that triple kill and this objective, and then obviously here he gave up the Herald, gave it up, and then shadowed his team again for the brilliant engage onto the Ashe. They were able to chain together these kills, and he's the reason they're going to win this. The Draven's fed, but the Draven's died 8 times. The Draven and the Nautilus killed themselves pushing mid lane, and the EKKO just took camps and then made the game-winning play once they respawned. He synced up when his team was ready to push. He didn't go AFK farming. Big lessons. Big lessons. We eat off the wall, we say, yo! Is that enough? No. No. Slows! Shields! Hooks! There's a joke there about the hooks and the Janna, but I'm not going to say it. Does anyone like Jax? Like, can he die? Can he die? Beautifully done, honestly. Such a quick turn. And the biggest lesson you can learn here if you're not in a Master Plus rank, and even if you are, is did you see how quickly this game just blew open? We're going to win this now. 23 minutes, 32-19, 10k gold lead basically, right? Nexus is going to die. If we go back to before that dragon fight, we're looking at a game where we're only ahead 4k gold. And while we're ahead, it's still Draven 10k to the Ashe. That's the big lead. And our junglers are equal, right? So it's all in the ADC this lead. If they can keep killing Draven 863, they have a chance to win this game, as we saw from the mid lane fight, right? As we saw from this situation here when they took this originally. It's like, oh, well, they can do a lot of work, actually. There's Draven dead again. And the switcheroo was the EKKO. Game changer. Beautiful. Love to see it. Excellent EKKO gameplay. Hopefully you enjoyed and learned something a little bit. Much more of a fiesta than necessarily like intricate pathing tendencies. But we try and identify as many practices as we can so that you can learn them. and also climb. Thank you very much for watching. Virkayu to GG for all of your jungle courses and champion goodness. And as always, I will see you all in the next one.